What's up, everybody? Hi, my name is Robert.
And I'm Kenyatta.
And I am Anita, and you are listening to The Love Project.
And we're back. How everybody doing today?
I'm doing good.
You doing good?
Pretty good. Can't complain. Nobody listens. So
And nobody
Right.
cared.
Right.
Nobody cares.
How was everybody's week?
Oh, this has been a pretty eventful week. I'm week 2 back in the building with scholars and teachers and parents and people. So it's been a week. It's been a week. It has been a week.
We want everyone to know that Anita has one of those important jobs. So she's like, you really have to schedule a time to see her and talk to her. So, she may get to you eventually. You have to schedule it.
I want everyone to know that everyone who has a job has an important job. Let's just start there. And you do not have to schedule time with me. You may have to text me and remind me, but that has nothing to do with my job. That has something to do with my horrible memory. Nothing to do with my job. No.
Kenyatta, how about you?
Busy, just like Anita, but different. But mostly our weekend. Our weekend has been like a blur. It's like been nonstop.
We had an awesome conversation, so much so. The conversation was so beautiful and so awesome that I think we have messed my computer up. And that's why you're seeing me differently right now. Because I'm on a different laptop, not on my main laptop. So we hope we get all of that taken care of. But we had a great conversation. If you hadn't had an opportunity to listen to that episode, stop what you're doing now. Listen to that first episode because we really kind of went into, just some really great conversation about where we are right now with love.
Jokingly earlier, I said that the topic of this conversation is who messed it up? Like, who was it that came along and messed up love and messed up dating and everything else? And I was joking, but I think that's a healthy question. Not only who messed it up or who changed it, but was the change really that big of a deal? Was it a bad change at all? And if it is, who's going to fix it? And I think the only way that happens is if we have these types of conversations and stop shying away from them.
So let's talk about technology rise. And specifically, the baby boomers witnessed the early days of TV and radio, while Generation X, we saw the birth of the internet and cell phones. And then you got all of the millennials and things that they had to deal with in terms of the technology was here and it just improved. Right. So how did these changes in technology affect the way each generation dated or showed each other love? Now, I want to give you an example. I chose first talking about the baby boomers, TV and radio. They had black and white TV as well as color TV. They've seen dating apps, but that popularized the concept of the blind date. And so you start seeing forms being created like, dating shows on television, and this was kind of like a place where people just came together and they watched these shows and they were excited about these shows because they really were intrigued and interested in seeing how it's like bringing a private thing like dating to the public. And so I really think that had an impact on several things, but what ways do you think that technology or what other examples can you give that kind of affected the baby boomers in terms of technology?
I do think that television and the telephone definitely came into play, but also I think they did more concerts as well. Right. So I think they learned and met different people that way. I think that they were exploring, finding people outside of their normal group of like their neighborhood possibly, and then the women started going off to college more. So I think they started opening up that way, but that's still one-on-one as opposed to regular technology that we're kind of used to now with apps and internet and different things. But that's what I saw regarding it. It was just baby steps.
So I wonder if technology really awakened these things or if it put it out on the forefront. So some of the things you mentioned, like blind dates, I don't think that blind dates are a new thing. I think that for years and years and decades, people are, betrothed to someone they've never even met, and they are literally groomed from birth until very young adulthood, like 16, 17. And when you get to a certain, age, hey, let me let you meet your now husband. So it's not new. I think what made it popular is we could see it on TV. And so now we're looking around like, okay, I'm not the only one that has done this. I think we got a chance to see something that we identify with, because I think about things that were so stinking entertaining, and I have my guilty pleasures. And I remember years and years ago, one of my guilty pleasures was watching Flavor of Love.
Flavor of Love.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that.
And if you haven't watched
is that
it,
the yeah boy?
yes.
Yeah.
And there was all these women,
Mhm.
for whatever reason, dying to live in this house and date him, and choose me. And it was so entertaining. And it wasn't entertaining in a way that, I wish I could be in the house fighting for Flay. That wasn't the answer. But there was just something exciting about seeing people trying to date. And I think that's what the internet has done, and I think that's what television has done. But to say these things are new, I don't necessarily agree with that. We put things out there in a different way than they did in the past.
But do you think that, for example, Love Connection, and there was some other show where there was married couples, and I'm going to slide that one in there because they weren't dating, they were married.
The Newlywed Game.
I saw that show.
Yeah.
It didn't it seem it showed more of the wholesome side of like relationships, and then you get to Flavor of Love, and I saw that, and it was fun. I mean, he wasn't like I don't think it highlighted him. It didn't make you feel like he was having sex with all these girls, and it didn't make you feel. I don't think it actually highlighted that. Well, I think they were kissing.
They were very sexualized. I'm gonna give.
It was okay.
Absolutely.
I saw a couple episodes.
I barely remember.
I think like Housewives of LA and all that type of stuff just took it to a whole nother
Agreed.
level.
So,
and now you have people like Kirk Franklin. You have is it Christian Housewives or something? I mean, I don't know what it is, but it's just like a whole. It's like this is a matter of fact. It's like I just seen something like it's about single people staying together or something.
In a house together, I think. I have to look up.
But is this any less wholesome than the Newlywed Game? Something that I used to just cringe at when it came to the Newlywed Game was anytime they would come, or Hollywood Squares, or even Family Feud way back when, the host would always go from person to person, and it was just as normal as anything else. He would just lean in and kiss the women. It was just a peck on the lip. And I would always cringe. Like, y'all don't let that happen? Like, this is some strange man. Even on the Newlywed Game, if you go back and look at some of those episodes, as children, we didn't think much about it. But now, as an adult, I'm looking at some of the questions. If you could compare your husband to any animal in the bedroom, which one would it be? Oh, he's a rabbit. So
I remember that.
They were just as cringy, and even to bring in the more, I don't want to say wholesome, and I don't even want to say Christian, but the more spiritual side. I kid you not, it's so funny that you bring this up. I'm not going to mention the denomination that this man was over, or leader in, because I do not want anyone to feel like this is any form of an attack on anyone. That's not my nature. That's not what this is. But there is a leader, or there was a leader, and his last name was Kimball. I will say that. And this man was born in, I want to say, the late 1800s, and he lived into the early 1900s. We'll say that for his lifespan. So this man wasn't here for, computers and technology and all of that. Right. But even referring to his sermons, he compared a good sermon to a woman's skirt or woman's dress. Have y'all heard this?
No,
No,
please.
I'm
Continue.
interested though.
Said that a good sermon should be like a woman's skirt. It should be short enough to arouse your interest, but long enough to cover the essentials of what needs to be covered.
He said that in the pulpit.
He not only said it in the pulpit, but people are hanging on to this so much so that earlier, the reason why I even came across this was because I was just flipping through TikTok today, and a minister, totally different denomination, years and years later, stands up in the pulpit within the last week and recites this quote. So this stuff isn't new.
No.
We see it more because now it's all over TikTok. But poor Miss Kimball, we had TikTok and Flavor of Love and VH1 and all that back then, he would have been the same subject. Even when we think about how things seem to be more sexualized now, I don't think that's the case. I think that there's just a bigger magnifying glass on everything we do. Thank goodness, because I didn't need TikTok when I was, 19, 25, in that age range. Thank the Lord for growth. But I didn't need anybody following me around with the cell phone reporting every move I made. But unfortunately, we now live in an age where there are no more secrets, and there's just no room for imagination.
So, Kenyatta, do you want to add anything to that? Do you think that it's changed somewhat from the baby boomers to the Generation X to now? Do you think it's affected the way we date or show each other love, based on the technologies that we're referring to?
I think if there's any change at all, it's just maybe you can reach out and talk to people more across the globe, and I think that's the only big difference. To be honest with you, outside of, and he made a great point though. People that are going to say something a little sassy, they used to say it then, and they'll say it now. But I think they might get more vulgar. I think they go past sassy sometimes, and they just straight on just say it. But gosh, I think there has been some changes, but it's not as drastic, and I think it's more in our face because it's everywhere. Yeah.
Y'all don't remember? I'm sorry. You have something else you want to say?
Good.
So do y'all didn't see like on the shows where you saw husband and wives back in the day. They were like, they didn't show them in the same bed.
Well,
they showed them in twin beds.
Because it's censors. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Men, oh no, you saw chivalry. The opening of the door, and I'm thinking about, is it A Wonderful Life? Is that the one?
That's the
what do you want? You want me to throw a rope lasso around the moon and give you the moon?
Yeah,
it was more that
more romance.
Yeah, the man was obviously the pursuer, but the lady, she was kind of like not playing hard to get, but not easy to catch. And now it just seems like, or would you say it seems like that it's like for example, The Bachelor, they're throwing it at you. It's like there's all of y'all lined up for this guy. And he's just like, I mean, it's almost like I'm at a buffet. What? It's all about what I want.
I see.
So, you don't see that as something that is different or something that is kind of came along with the dating culture now?
I think as women evolved emotionally, mentally, financially, educationally throughout the years, they stopped waiting, and they felt like it was okay to voice, this is what I want, or this is who I want. It's funny that you mentioned The Bachelor, but you did not mention The Bachelorette. So
I don't think I ever seen it,
because I think it's literally the same show reversed, and there are several shows like that.
So you think you trying to say I'm being misogynistic?
Absolutely not. What I have found, that's not what I said.
Yeah.
What I am saying though is that
Do
it's
we have them
very
counseling me?
no. Hey, y'all leave Robert alone. He's not mean to women that I know of. I'm not saying that. What I am saying though is that I do think society has a double standard. Hey, women,
Okay.
be independent and go for what you want, and it's okay. And as soon as we do, it's, hey, women, not too much. Don't scare the men off. Let us chase you. It's nice. Don't get me wrong. It's nice for a man to be romantic and chivalrous and pursue me. There's nothing wrong with that. However, times have changed. I don't need you to lasso the moon for me. I don't even want the moon. And so it's okay if it's okay for me to say that's not what I want. And that doesn't mean that things have changed so much that women can't be women anymore. I do think there are some issues, but I don't think we can just generalize everyone by something as simple as, what a TV show looked like. I have a friend and his parents have been married. I don't even know how long. I know he's 41. He has an older brother and they've been married since before his brother was born. They have separate rooms. And they have a very healthy marriage from what I know of. But we don't talk about that. We're not going to talk about that because that doesn't fit the narrative that somewhere, someone along the lines messed it up. And we can't talk about the instances that are not messed up because that doesn't fit the dialogue. We have to go find those few instances where someone possibly messed something up.
So
That's just
Kenyatta,
what I think.
do you think that we've lost something? Like, again, as a woman, don't you feel like your husband should lasso the moon and pull it down to you and just, make you feel special? I don't open car doors. I don't do that. But
No, what? Hold on, Kenyatta.
Hold on.
No. I don't feel like you have to. Well, for me, I know how to open the door. And that's okay. If you would like to, that's fine. But even in that, what you just said, you can't reference the standard being lassoing the moon and opening car doors and then turn around to this beautiful wife of yours and say, well, I don't open car doors. And because it doesn't make you any less of a good husband. And it doesn't make her standards any lower because that's not her standard for you. Like, we can't have it both ways.
What you say, Kenyatta?
Gosh, I wouldn't mind though. You opened up the door. But but honestly, if my hands are full or something, but I'm not opposed to a little bit of romance. I think we sometimes we're too in the face regarding certain stuff. I like
to what?
In your face. Like I want that, so give it to me now. There's just no moments of like discovery. Like I want to get to know you and the kindness, like they skip that step and next thing they know they're doing even the kids are doing adult stuff at a young age. How about be a kid? Go ahead.
So, you said you was going to respond to it. Go ahead and respond.
I wish I could remember exactly what it was that she said, but Jill Scott said, if you can tell me what to do, you can tell me what to do. But if you can't tell me what to do, you can't tell me what to do. And it resonates. I think that especially for younger African-American women in particular, when we have had to help carry the weight of the world in silence, because we were the last. Although we were the last to receive recognition for a lot of things, and we were the last to be seen, we ironically were carrying the weight the whole time. So I think it did kind of harden us. And I don't know any women. There may be some out there. I don't know any personally, myself included, who doesn't crave just letting go. Just sigh of relief. I'm done. I'm relaxed. I'm not looking over my shoulder. I don't feel heavy. However, when you know that if you fall backwards, there's no one there, you tend to teach yourself to stand upright. And when something hits you, you don't move so much. And so it's really hard to let go of that when you've had to stand strong and straight and firm for so long. So yeah, things like lassoing the moon don't seem like such a big deal. You don't have to open the car door. You don't have to do a lot of things. I just need the bare minimum. And unfortunately, I think that's where relationships start to go downhill, because although my standard used to be up here, now I'm down here. I just want the minimum. I don't want you to be an amazing man. Just want you to be a man. And I don't want my daughter to have to wonder or ask a man to just be a man. I want any daughter that I may ever have to want an amazing man.
That's
and
good.
I think that's the difference that we saw as women.
I love that. I'm going to jump right in and let you take over, Robert.
No, I shall not interrupt people.
No, it's just that because I got married in my 30s. So it took a moment. It's like you had to learn how to allow a man to be the man in your life. You had to be able to kind of relax a little bit. I can breathe. I don't have to turn around and watch my back when you're around because I know you got my back.
Do you think that with the new generation, do you think that with these technologies and the internet and because all this stuff is in your hand right now,
right?
Do you think that it's become a distraction in love relationships? Because you go to any restaurant and there's young people, they're not looking at each other. They're looking at their phones.
Right.
So in that way, can you say that that's something different that we have not yet felt the full impact of where that is going?
100%. And I don't even think it's young people. I think it's people who engage in technology in an unhealthy way. I, as someone who's around young people on a daily basis, I'm with them more than I'm at home. They don't even know how to speak any other way than how they text. I had to tell a student before, like, I know you know how to spell friend, but when you're writing it, don't spell it FREN. But when she's texting, it's just easy to put, hey, friend, FREN. So now when she starts to write, it sounds the same way. Or just like you, because they're so accustomed to shorthand. Everything is at the tip of our fingers. And unfortunately, so is the ability to be whoever you would like someone to think you are. I can be whoever I want to be behind a keyboard. I can sell myself as anything because all it takes is a few strokes and a little, Photoshop here and pick this up there and smooth that out. I can be whatever version of myself I would like you to believe I am. And because of that, we're selling ourselves falsely. It's false advertisement if we just call it what it is.
Catfishing.
Yeah.
Cat fishing.
Yes.
And what's so crazy though, it's not just on a romantic level. So just a disclaimer, if you ever apply for a job and I am responsible for screening, interviewing, or hiring you, I may never tell you, but I'm going to go find your social media. And it's just because you can be whoever you'd like to be. I just need to see if the person the world sees you as is the same person you're going to show me.
Right.
Because if there's a huge difference, I'm a little leery. Or if you have certain beliefs or views that you're just too vocal about, being in education, we just have to be very mindful because we represent families. And I'm not going to say when because I don't want anyone to think it's them because it might be you. I wanted to make sure that when this person came into my presence, I at least could know that it's her instantly. As soon as she walked in, hey, Miss So-and-so, I'm Miss Hart. And I looked at her picture and I kid you not, when that young lady stepped into the space, I said, hi, how are you doing? Give me just a moment. Someone will be with you. Because I had no idea who she was. It was just a totally different face. And I know that's really small, but even professionally, we catfish. We do. And I just think that is one of the drawbacks of, the virtual world. We can literally pretend to be anyone. And that is so sad because someone is falling in love with a false representation of who you are. And then we wonder why people just, go crazy all of a sudden. Like, we're playing with people. And don't play with me because that's not you. Don't put no 10-inch heels on or stand on a box and tell me, oh, I'm 6'8", and then I'm looking down at you like, that's rude.
Kenyatta, what you think?
I love that. People, the word that I came to mind when you were saying that, the avatars, they have an avatar for everything. So I was like, they have no interpersonal skills. They don't know how to do the gracious thing of saying, excuse me, hello, none of those things. And they don't know how to give eye contact. We think it's just someone that's have certain behaviors because of just born with. No, it's an age group, and or especially those who are really fixated on technology like telephones or something. They learned or unlearned the skill, or they never learned the skill. It's so scary.
So you think you're saying that this is a consequence?
Yes.
Of or after effect of technology?
Right. Being there all there consistently. If they don't have someone in their life to tell them, put down the phone, turn that off, let's talk, let's play board games. At some point you have to learn how to detach and be able to have personal skills. And go ahead.
Who teaches the 30-year-old man?
I remember not having technology so accessible.
Yeah.
I remember that. I remember having privacy where I didn't kiss you in public, or we didn't do public displays of affection. That was something you did around the corner, right? I remember the value of having to meet someone's family and hang out with them, and had to watch TV, and their family had to like you, and everybody knew that if you were dating Charlene, everybody was going to ask about Charlene.
Come on, Charlene.
If you were dating Fred, everybody was going to ask about Fred. It wasn't this changing of partners like that. When technology kind of came in, when you're all online, you're on Moco Space, Black People Meet, all these different sites.
Black Planet, come on.
Black Planet, yeah. When you was on all these different sites, you can be talking to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different people at one time.
Right.
It's you're fishing. You're seeing what's going to bite. And I think nowadays, like conversation and just having intellectual conversation. A lot of people in the community that I talk to, that's one thing, especially with men, I'm hearing that women find unattractive, that their man doesn't seem to have anything of substance to talk about. Yeah. If they're not referring to something that they're seeing on Facebook or TikTok or whatever, it just seems like there's something that the value of being with someone, to me, it just seems like it's weakened a little bit, in my opinion. What do y'all think?
It sounds like you're just communicating is that the problem is that people haven't took the time to go past the click 5-second read and just, pick up a book, or even just reading a full article in the magazine to get more details on a topic, and, really get or have interest outside of the immediate. So, and know it and develop that skill and really enjoy and have a deeper discussion and be able to share it with somebody else.
Well, you mentioned it. You said discovery, right? You talked about, discovering things about people. Well, because of how, you go to somebody's Facebook page, just like, Anita said, when, she's looking at maybe hiring somebody, she's going to look at their Facebook page. You already feel this person has already been presented to you. You already feel like you know something about them.
Yeah.
Which is different than meeting somebody in the line at Walmart where you actually got to ask questions. And once this person walk out of this line or check out and go to their vehicle, you may not never see them again. So you want to keep up with them. Where, if I got your Facebook or I got your TikTok or something like that, every time you post, every time you put something up, I can always go back to your page, check on you, all this type of stuff. I feel like it's kind of like when you meet a celebrity, you feel like you know them. They don't know you, but you feel like you know them because you researched them so much. You've looked at them so much. You are in some kind of way interacting with them all the time and they don't know it. So I just feel like that when you're face to face and you really have to come off the cuff, you're so used to having all of that information ready that it's like you don't realize that you have to get it. You have to retrieve it. And because even with my children, they'll text and not want to talk on the phone. They would rather text you than talk on the phone. So it's like, I don't know. When I was young, and I don't want to keep rambling on, but
long time ago.
When I was younger, I couldn't wait to see my relative or friend of the family because I wanted to sit in the living room and hear mom and them talk.
Yeah, that's
because I wasn't gonna get that conversation or hear that conversation any other way, and it was nothing else for me to do. This was my entertainment, and so I think that's where I learned how to communicate and talk to people.
So I think it's okay for us to hit or fall on either side of this argument because what comes to mind, the word that comes to mind for me is moderation. Anything in moderation is okay. Because a tool can be a weapon. A weapon can be a tool. It literally just depends on whose hand it falls into. For someone who is battling with maybe social anxiety and just lacking the experience of interacting with people and the confidence that they need, this is now a tool. For someone who's outgoing and now they're becoming lazy and they have detached themselves from the world, it's now become a weapon. So I think in either case, it just depends on how it's handled in moderation. Even if we think about dating apps, I don't think there's anything wrong with dating apps. I think the only difference between dating apps now and barnyard dances, years and years ago was one had a keyboard and music and one has an avatar. I just don't think there's a huge difference. Because I'm sure if they had keyboards in MySpace, they'd be snapping it up as well. Even if we think
barnyard dance,
that is what used to be very common. Barnyard dances, and the girls
put
the yellow
as bad as possible.
No, I'm trying to make it sound as aged and dated as it is. Because it takes us all the way back. Because again, who broke it? We didn't break it, or this new generation didn't break it. They just did it differently. If you think about the group of people that will use a dating app the most, that age group is like 33 to 45. That's not the 18-year-olds who were, stuck at home during COVID and forgot how to talk. It wasn't them. I think sometimes we forget to put things in perspective. And I know this is not necessarily related to this, but even when we start thinking about like who messed things up, even over sexualizing music, that's this new generation that's coming out now. Have y'all heard some of those old songs?
Like, I ain't gonna say what they said. If you can kiss my head,
hey now, So
you know what I'm talking. You know what song I'm talking about, right?
I have no idea what song that
You
is.
know that you. I'm gonna text you that.
That
Now,
is
listen,
not a hymn that
forgive me
I
of my
often.
sins.
It's not
Forgive
a
me of
hymn
my
at all.
sins.
It is not a hymn that
There's a
I'm
video. I gotta
accustomed to know. That's
You know what I'm
oh
talking about, Kenyatta. Don't you?
my
I know
ear-
the song because it floated around.
oh my ears. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay. All right.
Mama, I don't know what he's talking about though.
You playing? Oh, okay. You playing Angel? Okay, I got it.
I'm an angel. But even
Keith,
so,
go ahead.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
one last in the 80s,
Yeah.
late 80s, early 90s, that is when the spike, not when it first came out, that was the spike of what they call like dirty rap or sex rap. I can't remember how they coined it. I know one of the nicknames for it was sex rap.
Really?
80s.
Okay.
Now, in the 80s, if I'm a 25-year-old and I'm now spiking this, I wasn't born in 2000. I wasn't born in 2005.
Okay. All right.
I'm just saying we can't blame everything on the young people. Y'all passed it too.
You got something you want to wrap up with that, Kenyatta?
Just that. Yeah. I just think my mind's like, I don't remember they call it the sexy rap.
I'm gonna find it for you.
But I do remember that I was, because the 80s was my time. I do remember that. I think it was the late 80s is when the rap starts changing from the fun, like the Fat Boys.
Now
and the
this is the story
Blow.
all about how my life got twisted upside down.
Nope.
No,
Nope.
that was Fat Boys.
You're getting there.
It went from
You're getting there.
it went from that to, and then it did change. It to the gangster rap, and then it got a little more. Yeah, it got way more intense. And then one day I woke up and I said, when did we were okay being called certain profanity words? Because I remember the girls used to come together and want to go attack some little boy that called us out of our name. Then one day I woke up and we were calling ourselves that. So I just like, when did that happen?
So I wonder if, because we are the generation of video soul and uncut. Don't act like I know what that was. But it gave us a visual of what we were hearing. And I think that is what started to taint music in general, because, sexual healing was not about holding hands walking on the beach.
Not at all.
At all.
Was it? But it wasn't. It still wasn't. From the front to the back, as a,
But
it was more like. Let me think about that.
So what is wrong? Thinking of. I think we're. Don't get me wrong. It's horrible now. It is horrible.
Yeah.
But
there's no bedroom anymore.
There wasn't a bedroom then.
It was. Come on. You had like when I'm alone in my room, sometimes I stare at the walls, and in the back of my mind I hear my conscience come telling me I need a girl who's as sweet as a dove for the first time in my life. I see I need love. That's different.
Oh, I was waiting for the big plan. I was trying to contain it.
Different. That's different from.
I do agree. Don't say it. Don't even try it.
Yeah,
don't
but
even.
It was imaginative, and I really believe that, and all generation had their raunchy. I agree.
They all did. Yeah,
all generation had their raunchy. All generations did things with technology, and like even with concerts. You had them Anita Baker concerts, but you also had all that Woodstock stuff. You know what I'm saying? Where people were naked and getting drunk and having, you had Ozzy Osbourne drinking blood on stages and all this other type of stuff. So
that's
Prince, that was one of my favorite artists, but he had
moments,
and you know what I mean? It was just this asexual thing was out there. So I get it, but I do think that privacy, and there's nothing that is expected to be private now.
I like that.
Agree. If you look at a person who is addicted to porn, and you look at a person who is addicted to, let's say, crack or meth, and you connect their brains and you look at their brain activity when one person ingest their drug and one person's watching pornography, their endorphins light up the exact same way.
Wow.
They are literally chasing the exact same high. So whether you're addicted to pornography or drugs or alcohol or whatever it is, it's still that same chemical in your brain that is chasing for it to get better and better. You'll never find that initial high, but your brain just can't let go of it without intervention, which is why it's so hard sometimes for especially people who are Christians to seek help in that area, because we can help a drug addict and come to the Lord, and we can help you get into rehab if you can't stop drinking. But as soon as we mention anything sexual, it's, oh, you deviant. But studies show that our brains react the exact same way, regardless of what that addiction is.
What is it that you want people to walk away knowing, understanding, or applying to their life?
I guess I'll start. I think I would like for people to just understand how valuable moderation is. We can have changes, we can have technology, we can have isolation, we can have all these things in moderation. And if we really want to just get to the nitty-gritty, we all broke it. So we're all responsible for fixing it. Right. It's as simple as that.
The divide is becoming more clear. We need to make sure and catch it right now so we can make sure that the next generation don't have the same problems or worse.
Thank you. Thank all of you for tuning in and listening to our podcast. Hey, if you got anybody that you know that needs to hear this podcast, please send it to them. Share it, like it, subscribe to what we're doing. We're going to be coming out with a new show every other week, so you can depend on that. And we're going to be talking about a whole lot of different topics. And so we've concluded this topic. We got more topics to come. And yeah, I know you love the Love Project. And so we're going to do what Paul said. We're going to remind you that the greatest of these is love.